overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I've titled this sermon, for those of you taking notes, called Take a Seat. Oh, yeah, no, you all have a seat already. But take a seat. Honestly, something I believe, and it's something I've held on to ever since I felt that, you know what, Lord, this is where you need me to be. It's when we all get saved and we all call ourselves Christians, at the end of the day, I believe our one and only mandate is to become experts and become obsessed with Christ. Because it always comes back to always seeking a deeper understanding. If we're challenging our thoughts constantly, it will only strengthen what we believe. We can't go comfortable and just cruise. Honestly, I think we hold back on sharing the value of Christ in our lives. We're too worried about like, oh, is it appropriate to share this here? Or, I don't know, can I say this? How do I say this? I don't want to offend anybody. But then we end up devaluing God in our lives because we don't want to share it. I find myself seeing more Christians walk around with a sense of pride saying, oh, I listen to this preacher, or I listen to this social media influencer. Or, honestly, and I'm going to be honest here, I was this Christian at some point, they feel more than happy to just be able to quote their Sunday's theme for the week to carry them through the week. We're so happy and so comfortable to eat off the crumbs and the leftovers of our pastors and these social media influencers that we forget He's prepared a table for us to sit in. Honestly, I feel like there's a lack of hunger and a desire that's really what's holding the church back. We're Christians that come to church week in, week out, and just comfortable to take this seat, hear whatever our pastor has to say, and then go home and call it a day.
Sure.
And be honest, I'll be honest, this was me. Who's ever had to hype themselves up to interact with someone who we know is a Christian? I'll be honest, I've done it. Best believe Sunday morning wakes up, I listen to worship music on blast because I wake up at 5 and I go, I don't want to do this right now, I want to stay in bed, my cat's on my chest, I can't move, oh no, it's an excuse to be late. I do it. My excuse is, oh, I just need coffee. It's a valid excuse, but I do need coffee, but it can't be the excuse constantly. Why do we need to hype ourselves up? Because we're scared that we're going to now interact with this person, they're going to think, oh, this person's a horrible Christian. Or, oh, what do I do? Do I look like a bad Christian if I don't talk to this person? Do I look like a bad person if I don't go and encourage this person or go pray for this person? Why are all those thoughts the thing that's holding us back from just walking it out and owning it? All of these things shouldn't be things we worry about. We should be finding ourselves in a space of wanting more, not being satisfied with, oh, just scrolling through Instagram, get 3 or 4 church, Christian content and be happy. Surely there's more than that. Surely life isn't a dopamine chase of Christianity. Honestly, we have to get up and walk to the cross, walk to the table, pull out our seat that He's prepared for us. We don't have to do anything, right? We just pull it up and sit down. But where does that start? And my first point, already I know, shocking. First point is get desperate. In Matthew 9, verses 18 to 22, it says, while he was saying this, a synagogue leader came and knelt before him and said, my daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her and she will live. Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. And she said to herself, if I only touch his cloak, I will be healed. Verse 22, it says, Jesus turned and saw her. Take heart, my daughter, he said. Your faith has healed you, and the woman was healed in that moment. She was desperate. But desperation doesn't mean recklessness. Yeah. Being desperate just means you want more. Just means if I can just get there. the mindset of if I can just get the edge of his cloak, just a little bit, not all of it. I don't need him to hold me, I don't need him to hug me, I don't need him to anoint my head with oil, I don't need him to intercede for 6 months and pray this and pray that and rebuke that spirit and that spirit, burn incense, none of it. Just if I can get the bit of his cloak, just a little bit. If we can just get close enough to get a glimpse of his garment, was the mindset that she had. I've seen so many people get prayed for, whether it's a conference or even on a Sunday, and you say, hey, I'm going to pray for you, and you put your hand in the back and they start praying in tongues, and they start sweating, and they start striving, and they keep going all out, because their thought is they need to fight to get a glimpse of his garment. Whenever my anxieties and worries get the better of me, and I cross over into that recklessness instead of that desperation, I always remember this, and I told someone this at the 1825 conference at Hillsong. The presence of the Lord isn't something we need to fight for or strive for. We don't need to knock every single door just to guess which door he's behind. We don't need to fight a crowd to get to just a little bit of his robe. But we need to understand that robe that he wore, that she was so eager just to get a bit of, he doesn't wear that anymore. He's very nicely taken that off and wrapped us in it. I don't think you guys get that. That robe that she was so desperate to just get the glimpse of, just a little bit. She would have taken a piece of fabric from it and been happy. We're now like a baby, coddled, wrapped, cozy, comfortable, constantly have access to that thing that someone was so desperate for.
We have, yeah.
We have full access to that. The same power, the same desperation she had. 12 years of suffering. We have full access to that whenever we want to. We just have to be willing to say, yes, Lord.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that always makes me enjoy this passage the most. Jesus had his intention elsewhere already. The synagogue leader was like, no, like, my daughter died, can you come and do this? And even then, he stopped and said, no, there's something that's happening here. There's something that I need to give my attention to right now. Because guess what? We all have that table that he's prepared. The synagogue leader's daughter, she had a table prepared. And so did this woman. And she needed the same attention. And he didn't let a moment go by. Oh, I just said that out loud. Nice. Anyway, did she have to push through a level of discomfort? Yeah? 12 years of discomfort was probably not great. So yes, did she have to make a way? Yes, she had to get out of what, in that time, she had to just sit inside. Because she'd be bleeding everywhere. She wasn't allowed outside. She had to just, no, you stay there. No one needs you. You go hide in that corner over there. Live your life over there. But even though that's what the world told her to do, and that's what life told her to do, no, we're gonna take that extra step. We're gonna make a way to get to the table. We don't have to bring anything. It's not a bring a chair. We ain't gonna share anything. We go, we pull out the chair and we sit down. But we need to get desperate and come with our cup and say, Lord, here we go. A very interesting thing that I found out about salmon. Yeah, no, you're very like, what? But the really, really interesting thing I found out about salmon is salmon have this unique ability to be able to swim upstream. Salmon have this gift, let's call it, to be able to go against all logic and swim upstream Want to know what happens when they reach that upstream? That's when they start reproduction. I believe once we've received the Son and been wrapped up in the Spirit, that's where we are no longer now just an ordinary fish. But we've become like salmon, where all of the struggles and all the battles we've been through, the Lord has molded us and prepared us to swim upstream. And it's not a fight, it's not difficult. We've been designed for that. That once we get to that upstream point, that's where the gift of life comes from.
Yeah.
That's where it's released.
Yeah.
Because we've pushed through adversity. We've gone through everything that the Lord's prepared for us to go through to prepare us to swim upstream to then reach that point where life is given and life is released. It might not be easy, but He's prepared us to go upstream. Is it scary? Very much. But how freeing is it knowing that the Lord is here with us? That we're not swimming upstream alone. That He's with us, that He's walking that with us. The most freeing thing I've ever done, like most, we all had to choose subjects in school. I stepped into that phase and I had zero clue what I was doing. Sorry, parents. I stepped into high school being like, you know what, I'm gonna be, and you guys can laugh at this, I'm gonna be an engineer. Which one? I don't know, pick one from the hat, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, let me specify. I'll go electrical engineering. Have no desire to do that. Mechanical engineering, still have no desire to do that. Then I went to psychology because it's a safe bet. And then there was one night when I was 16, had no clue. Hated going to school, hated my subjects, just did it because if I don't do this, then what am I doing? Sat down one day on my floor in my room, took my teenage study Bible, still have it, it's barely holding one, but I took my Bible, sat down on the floor, flipped open to a random page. Yes, I did Bible roulette. It's not a good idea, but it worked for me at the time. Flipped open to a random page, and the verse it opened up to is 1 Timothy 4:12. And it said, do not let anyone think less of you because you are young. But be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity. I sat there, immediately just put my Bible on the floor, and I said, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what's happening. I'm just on cruise control. But you know what, Lord? Your will be done. And hindsight, everything started changing at that point. Literally a week later, I get a phone call from a leader at my old church. I'm 16 at this point, and he phones me and says, hey, I know you go to school in the southern suburbs. Church is wanting to plant a location. Do you want to help launch our youth ministry over there? I didn't do anything. I didn't knock. I didn't ask. But the doors started to open up by themselves. I didn't have to do anything because I said, Lord, you lead me. I mean, planted the youth ministry, then I served on the tech team, and then the worship team, and then ran kids' church for a while. I didn't ask for any of it. I just said, Lord, where do you want me to go? And I'll go. But what's the point of all of this? Praying for the Father's will is one thing, but being willing to fall into His will is another thing. But falling into that is so freeing because you don't need to worry about anything else. You just need to know He's there.
Yeah.
Because then from there, if we stay with Him, it'll work out. Right? Because we're leaning on the fact that He's gone before me and He's going to go with me. So what's stopping me? Even if it looks like failure from our standpoint. That's why I love Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to his purpose. All of it just becomes so easy when you stop pulling it on your own. Point number 2, I know, long point one, eh? Point number 2 is the power of my tongue. Proverbs 18:2, it says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. The shift didn't start because I decided to roll out of bed one day at 16 and I say, hey, you know, it'd be fun. Let me go into ministry as my job. Let me do this for a living. Let me choose this as my vocation. Because at the end of the day, there's a difference in vocational ministry, because, you know, we're all in full-time ministry because we call ourselves Christians, right? There we go. But I'll be honest, no one encouraged me to do it. Oh, please, I got more. Are you sure you want to do that? I got hit with a, oh, but how are you going to pay for, you know, food and rent and living? But as much as from here, looking forward, valid question. But as soon as you switch your eyes from this to this, then everything doesn't matter. And who cares? Because the Lord's provided. I mean, the Lord provided for me to get to Bethel, I'll tell you that much. COVID happened. For those of you who know, my parents are in tourism. Best believe tourism stopped. What did it come to, like, what, 300 a year, something like that? Because of the exchange rate? And that just kept going higher because, you know, that's how exchange rates work when the country stops working. Had meetings, they were like, no, we'll do this payment plan, we'll do this payment plan. I finished my first year, and the only thing my family and I paid was my deposit. Second year paid for itself. Somehow, sat there at graduation, they're like, we can't give you a certificate until you're done paying for the year. Logged in one Tuesday and all my payment links were gone. Third year paid once, same thing. Where? I don't know. Honestly, there's meant to be a whole system where they're like, no, you can send a message and like, you get a notification when it's paid. Those links just disappeared. There was no message, there was no, oh, your tuition's been paid. They just vanished off my page. And we asked, we're like, hey, where's this link? They're like, we don't know. They didn't even know. But you know what? Why does it matter? Everything started to change when I walked to the table, pulled out the chain with my cup, and I spoke to my dad. This is what's going on. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Where am I going? Stopped, listened, said, sure. Where am I going? Don't need to know. Just follow him. It was so comfortable, and I'm going to be honest, we're too comfortable in church whispering our prayers, whispering our worship. Or, hear me out, using your internal monologue to talk to the Lord. Last time I checked, He gave us lungs and a mouth to speak and to sing. If birds and rocks and flippin' whales can sing to the Lord, why do we want to use our internal monologue to do it? Honestly, I think that's the one way the enemy stripped everything away.